Welcome, everybody. This is Dr. Reinaldo Ramirez. I'm the Chair for Department of Teaching, Learning, and Innovation and Associate Professor for Secondary and Science Education. Today I'm going to be talking about using the outdoor classroom to increase student achievement. The outdoor classroom has many benefits. One of these is that it does increase student achievement, and there's quite a bit of research linking outdoor learning to this. It also, in research, also shows that it also increases critical thinking skills in students, and of course, not just in science, but in all academic subjects, students begin to develop an interest. And it also improves student behaviors, and I think that all teachers would welcome that. I'm going to also say that it's easy to implement because they're inexpensive and they're easy to implement, and the learning is interdisciplinary, so it fits almost into any subject at any grade level from K through 12. There is evidence out there of outdoor learning experiences increasing student achievement. One of the first ones is place-based education research, where many schools that have implemented place-based education have increased their scores. PSJA was one of those schools that was written in a book that was included in a book by David Sobel, where implementation of a program increased student achievement. SEER, the statewide environmental education roundtable, also cites research of increases in student achievement throughout the United States, not just one area. Personally, I have been able to work with West Elementary at Progreso ISD and have seen their scores go from the high 50s to the high 80s, and we're still continuing to work on developing that aspect of it. Hutzel Elementary at Katy ISD has for the last 3 years shown exemplary ratings, and I was looking for the scores. I prepared this on July 28th, and the scores aren't going to come out till the 30th, but I'm pretty certain that Hutzel has maintained their exemplary rating. Also, there are many resources out there. I'm just going to name some of them. I've listed a whole bunch here. Some of my favorite ones, of course, is angler education, taking students and teaching them how to fish. They have no idea that they're learning science. KOLB is another great activity that is available with a little bit of training. Outdoor Kids is an expired Texas Parks and Wildlife program, but it has some great models for learning, and if I get a chance, I'll explain that in another video. Project Wild is one that I use quite a bit as a facilitator for Project Wild. I know this program works, and it's being introduced in many schools throughout the state of Texas. And Texas Watch programs, it's rather informal, but students go out and collect data about different things out there in their environment. It could be a river watch, could be amphibian watch. Down here in South Texas, we look for horned toads, and we report the sightings of horned toads, Phrynosoma. The tools for outdoor learning, there's really very simple, essential tools. You need a journal, some writing instruments, and then a hand lens or a loop, and I'll be talking about that. We'll do some activities. If you want to go big time, you can get some binoculars, a camera, audio recorder, or video recorder. Those are all great, but not necessary for outdoor learning. There are different models for teaching outdoors. Texas Essential Knowledge and Skills, our state curriculum, includes field experiences in its language. I'll talk a little bit about KOLB's and experiential education learning model in a little bit, and also Palmer and Neal's environmental education learning model. So let's talk about those. First of all, the state of Texas says that science learning occurs in the classroom, in the laboratory, and in the field. And many times we forget that last one, in the field. And the reason is that we must develop programs or curricula that allow students to discover facts, concept, and the laws of science, all on their own, if at all possible. Field activities provide first-hand experiences to a well-designed inquiry-based science program, so they should be included. And of course, along with that, direct observations in a field setting provide a more stimulating and rewarding experience, not only for the students, but for the teacher too. I know as a outdoor educator, I have been, very pleased when I work with children and teachers in the outdoors. Let's look at KOLB's model. The state advocates it, but KOLB basically said that there were 4 parts. Now, here's a cycle, but the cycle can start at any point. But for reference, we're going to start with concrete experiences up at the top, and it's related to participation and involvement with people, places, and events of learning. And so we all have those concrete experiences. And then we must reflect, and reflecting requires thinking and processing relative to the learning experiences. If we go out on a field trip and we don't reflect, then the field trip is wasted. Then what we must do is test and apply. This is testing and application situations where new learning is applied. And we're going to look at that in just a little bit with what I advocate. Generalizations, principles, and theories have to be constructed that organize and guide the learning. This makes it academic. Through this whole cycle, your principal won't say anything about taking kids outdoors, because at the very end there are definite knowledge and skills that they're going to be developing. In environmental education models, Palmer and Neal advocated teaching in the environment, with the environment, and for the environment. And I'm not going to go too much into that, but I think you can see what that means, teaching in the environment, just going out there with the environment. If you can't go out there, bring it into the classroom, and then do something for the environment. Here's one of the neat little devices that we're going to be using. It's called a private eye. It's inexpensive, convenient, high quality, simple instructions. One of the things that you got to do is you got to use this loop with any everyday objects, and we're going to experiment with that in just a little bit. And then we're going to start with the first question. We're going to ask students questions to evoke thinking, and this thinking is through analogy, metaphors, or similes. So we're going to ask questions like, well, what else does it remind me of? What else does it feel like? Does it look like? Does it move like? The second question might be, why did it remind me of that? It makes you think about the characteristics and properties shared by your object and event and what it reminds you of. So that's kind of the second question. The third question is the hypothesizing and theorizing part. When observing a feature of an object or phenomena, ask, why is it like that? It reminds me of this. I wonder if it might function or work the same as that. And looking at that particular cycle, that is the model for the private eye. So what we're going to do is we're going to go outside and conduct observations and create questions at different levels. I'm going to continue on with this presentation just so we can have it all there, but anyone in this workshop would actually be going outside right now. Expanding knowledge with the private eye activities. We teach free writing method to write, and that's another workshop that I do, and I might explain that for those of you going out with me in the field. And then, of course, we have to adapt to different grade levels. What are the appropriate activities adapted for different grade levels? K3 students and their lack of skills in writing, but also their lack of skills with vocabulary. They can't describe as much, and so sometimes we have to help them along, but these activities certainly help with that. And then the older students in 4th through 6th grade, What kind of activity?